to the Washington Examiner White House Correspondent Sarah Westwood, New York Post Washington Bureau Chief Gabby Morrongiello. Gabby, what now? What do you want to hear out of Sarah when she speaks?
Well, you know, I'm less interested in learning more about the rumors behind how this entire series of events unfolded and more interested in knowing what changes are going to happen under Scaramucci as communications director. Is he going to be going on TV as he has been to be a defender of the president and his agenda? Is he going to be staffing up and hiring new people to bring into this White House? You know, when Sean Spicer was named press secretary, he brought with him a number of individuals who worked at the Republican National Committee. Are those folks going to stay on? And if not, who are the people who are going to replace them? I think that there are significant changes that are likely to occur under Scaramucci's leadership in that top communications post. And it'll be interesting to see, you know, what those are and to hear from Sarah Huckabee Sanders on those details.
You know, Gabby, there's the possibility that nothing changes, that it's just a different person, all this, but this president won't change. He will still call the shots. He will still kind of control that messaging. Of course, he will argue, as he has in the past, that he got himself elected. Even I'm famously saying that time with Steve Bannon, you know, he came before I'd already won all these guys over. So is he right for a different message or a different messenger?
Well, look, I think that Scaramucci, again, is somebody who's cut from the same cloth as the president, and the appointment of him in this communications director role signals that the president is seeking some sense of change inside his communications department and within the West Wing. I mean, this guy has been combative in interviews before. He has been a defender of the president to, you know, on every single issue and every single scandal that we've seen.
Well, I think you just hit on the key point here, and Sarah, I want to take that up with you, that if you're expecting a different, a nicer, kinder, gentler approach from the White House, it won't be. What do you make of that? Sarah?
Right. We know that the president's dissatisfaction with his communications job came from the fact that he didn't believe it was being offensive enough, being on offense. It was too often on defense. It was too often reactionary. They weren't getting out ahead of stories. They weren't getting the kind of press that he thought he deserved. And he felt that the messaging strategy was most successful when he was doing it himself. The word is that this week he conducted an interview with the New York Times. Out of that interview, he criticized Attorney General Jeff Sessions. There were a number of other controversial things that he said, but inside the White House, the word was that the president thought it was a roaring success, that he thought that the interview went really well.
Didn't anyone tell him that it wasn't, Sarah?
Well, that's kind of the problem, right, is that no one in the press shop thus far has been able to stand up to the president and let him know when maybe the line that the president wants to push is not necessarily the one that's going to get them the most flattering media coverage.
Sarah, by the way, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're hearing via a Sean Spicer tweet that seems just prose right now, that it's been an honor and privilege to serve a POTUS real Donald Trump and this amazing country. I will continue my service through August, so I don't know whether that will be an on-camera service there or how it will change what you do when you get your information, Sarah, but what do you think of that?
Well, that's interesting because it seems like this ouster of Sean Spicer was not necessarily amicable, that he resigned in protest over Scaramucci joining the West Wing, so it's interesting that he will then continue to serve with someone he so openly dislikes for an additional month.
And it would also mean, Gabby, that it may be a sign that Scaramucci's start date is delayed, or because I can't see the two of them together. Do you know, Gabby, where this antipathy between the two began or why? So many in the administration, because we feel this extended way beyond Sean Spicer, to Steve Bannon and to Reince Priebus, they were against Scaramucci coming in, at least in this capacity. The president overruled them all.
Well, a lot of these individuals inside the president's circle feel as though Scaramucci is not well qualified for this position. That despite his appearances on the cable news networks over the past few months defending the president, that he really has no business managing a communications operation and running something that is so fast-paced inside this White House. I mean, one of the complaints that we have heard repeatedly from people inside the White House is that, as Sarah was saying, there's oftentimes a lot of disconnect between what the president is saying and his press shop and his communications team. And it's difficult to see with Scaramucci, somebody who has been loyal to the president, who the president seems to be particularly fond of, whether he's going to be able to ameliorate that situation and make sure that there is plenty of coordination happening between the press shop and the president's most inner circle. But I do think that Sean Spicer, although he may have been he may have been protesting this appointment, you know, through other reporting, we've learned that he is there to and willing to help aid this transition and make sure that it goes smoothly as possible, and that he will continue to defend this president and help advance this administration's agenda in whatever capacity he serves in following his resignation.
All right, guys, thank you both very, very much.